Reverend Sophie to the studio. Very good morning to you, Reverend Sophie.
Morning, everybody. Oh, it's so lovely to be here. And it's beautiful outside. Have you seen the weather outside this morning?
Well, it's dry.
Glorious.
We keep being sent pictures of sunrises. It's that proper golden sky in the morning, isn't it? Is that not a shepherd's warning, though? Is that how the rhyme goes?
Possibly, yeah. It's red sky at night, shepherd's delight. Red sky in the morning, shepherd's warning, I think they say, isn't it?
I think so.
But yeah, on Sunday, when I came in for the show on Sunday morning, it was absolute torrential rain. So to be able to sit and talk to you with the sun shining is quite nice.
Oh, it does make a change. It puts a big smile on people's faces, as does just being reminded to look around the things that put smiles on faces. Rebecca's saying she had a lovely chilled weekend with her son, and they watched Goat, which was our answer yesterday on Unscramble, and I got to see them at Folly Farm Live.
Ah, yes. Naughty goats.
Yeah, lots of goats. When you said they got to watch Goat, I was like, what's Goat?
That's all it says, though. It's just Goat.
Oh. I wondered if it was a new film I'd missed.
Goat. I was going to bring you on to something yummy No. I was going to bring you onto something really yummy today, and it's a big day in the church calendar for Shrove Tuesday.
It is, yes. So Shrove Tuesday is the day when we make pancakes. And the reason that we make pancakes is because what we're doing is we're preparing for Lent. So tomorrow is the first day of Lent. And during Lent, we essentially it's a time where we do things that will draw us closer to God. Now, that might be fasting. So the most common thing and the traditional thing in years gone by has been to fast. And that might be done in various different ways. So it might be that you would fast from food, or you might fast from a couple of years ago I fasted from social media, those sorts of things. You can fast from something. And the idea is that that in fasting it gives you an opportunity to spend more time with God, because of course if you're fasting from social media, you're gonna want to do something with that time, so you spend that time praying or being in God's presence. And likewise, when you fast from food, often it means that you're possibly weaker than you would be, so you've got to rely on God's presence to be able to make it through the day without wanting to eat anything. So it's about coming into God's presence, really. But so the idea with Pancake or Shrove Tuesday is that we're getting rid of all of the rich things that we find in our cupboards that we would want to normally eat if they were there. So it's about using up the stuff before we go on our fast. So that's what it's about. Yes. So Pancake Tuesday is a big celebration.
Yeah, so when I get the chocolate spread and I get the cream and I get the syrup, that is a prime example of doing a traditional pancake day.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, but although these days I don't keep a lot of that stuff in my house, so I end up going out and buying more stuff in order to get rid of it. Which seems a bit daft.
Yeah. And years gone by, you mentioned social media. You've given up. Didn't you once try and give up burgers, which didn't go incredibly well?
It didn't go very well because I forgot.
As you were biting into one juicy burger, and it was like, oh, I can't have
it. So yeah, that was a bit disastrous. But last year I fasted, properly fasted, and this year I'm going to do the same again. But when I say I'm fasting, what I mean by that is that I'm significantly reducing my calorie intake rather than completely cutting out food, because cutting out food completely is not healthy for you. And I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. So when I say that I'm fasting, I'm just significantly reducing my calorie count so that so that I'm having to rely on God, but I'm not dying at the same time.
Yeah.
Because
not
I
healthy.
imagine what some people might be familiar with in football circles, actually, because of the footballers that play in the Premier League, is of course Ramadan, which is a
Yeah.
fast as well. Of course, there are some people that are excused from the full fast, aren't they, because of health conditions and things like that. I
Yeah.
suppose this might be the similar, like the interfaith similarities that we see with fasting, and they do it for a similar reason as well, don't they?
Yeah, so a similar kind of concept. They are, in order to be focusing their minds and their attentions on God, they are relying on God's strength throughout the day, essentially, to be able to get through that fast. So they fast from sunrise to sunset. So they
Sunset,
eat
yeah.
they eat what they want after those times. Although, as most people will know, anybody that's done a fast before will know that once you start fasting, your reduction of calories, you want to eat less anyway. So overnight, then you're not going to want to eat quite as much, because you get to that point where your stomach is shrunk and you don't really want to eat too much.
Yeah.
But yes, it's similar. So it's a similar sort of thing. And in actual fact, Ramadan often overlaps Lent. So they often overlap, but they almost exactly coincide this year. So they're both starting. I think Ramadan starts either today or tomorrow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I can't remember if it's 17th or the 18th. Sorry. And then they will, I think they go just a little bit longer. So I think we do 40 days, and I think they go a little bit longer than we do, but I can't be 100% sure. I'll have to check my dates.
That's no problem. And a lot of people put this with taking things away, so fasting, reducing your calories to be closer to God. But if I remember correctly, I feel that Father Neil said last year that you can also decide to do something for Lent. Is that true as well?
Yeah. So particularly with people, for people who there's no point giving something up if it's not going to help you get closer to God. So there's no point giving up social media if you don't do social media very often, because it's not going to make a difference. In the same way, there's no point giving up if you're not going to spend giving up food if you're not going to spend that time in prayer and really kind of turning your attention to God. So the idea of Lent is that we're giving thanks for all of those things that we have, that we're so on Shrove Tuesday, we give thanks for all of the things that we have. We give thanks for all the rich foods we have. We give thanks for all the blessings that we have in terms of food. And then during Lent, it's kind of a time of desert, time of wilderness. So we come close to God, and we're remembering those times in our lives when things are not quite so good. So we're kind of putting ourselves at God's mercy, really. And coming alongside God more closely. Now, some people find it really, really difficult to give things up, because either their lives are fairly sparse anyway. So it might be that someone doesn't get to eat a lot of food because they're poorly, or they don't get to eat a lot of food because they haven't got enough anyway. So but someone, for instance, who doesn't eat a lot may want to do something practical to help other people during Lent. And that's a really good way of, again, it's about praying, it's about thinking about what God might be asking of us, and then making a difference in somebody else's life. So there's kind of two ways of doing it. Some people do both. So I will be fasting, but I'm still going to be doing acts of kindness during Lent. Some people collect a can of beans every day, or a can of food or whatever, and then at the end of Lent, give a great big huge parcel of stuff to the food bank. That's the kind of thing, it's about it's about
That's really cool.
remembering that in the good times we are really well off,
Yeah.
and then in the bad times we're carried and strengthened by God. So it's it's a bit like a it's a bit like a picture of life generally. But putting ourselves into those positions, we wouldn't normally put ourselves in a position of desert unless we had no choice. But it's a really important part of what we do as Christians, and also it mimics it's kind of a remembering of what happened with Jesus. So Jesus was baptized, and then he spent 40 days in the wilderness, and in that 40 days he was tempted by the devil. And so what we're doing is we're reminding ourselves that our lives really are supposed to be trying to, we're supposed, as particularly as priests, we're supposed to be trying to be Christ-like. And so that's, that temptation to eat food when we shouldn't be, or that temptation to drink a glass of wine when we're supposed to be abstaining, those sorts of things, they actually become quite difficult by the time you get to week 4. I don't drink a lot of wine. I don't drink any wine at all, but if someone told me I can't have it,
then you want
I
it.
must have it now.
that's when you want it, isn't it?
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning and give us that insight. The last question does have to be, what are you having on your pancakes?
What am I having on my pancakes? Lemon and sugar all the way.
Yes.
Classic.
Traditionalist like myself.
Are you eating it flat like a pancake? Are you putting it into a triangle, or are you rolling it into a bit like a sausage roll?
Well, do you know what? We're actually at 10 o'clock this morning. We are making pancakes galore in Spittal Church Hall.
Yes.
Between 10 and 12, we're doing activities, games, and pancakes all in Spittal Hall today. So, if you fancy coming along and seeing how I make my pancakes, this morning is the place to be.
That's where you need to be. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We're coming up to 10 to 9 here this morning. I hope that Lent goes well for you. Thank you for giving us insight as to what it might mean for those that may have been like, oh yeah, you just kind of give up chocolate. Well, it's a bit more than just giving up chocolate. There's a reason for it. We look forward to supporting those people on their journey for the next 40 days. Reverend Sophie, thank you so much. Catch up next week.
Definitely, can't wait. And I will be on the show on Sunday morning at 8.
Sunday morning at 8, alive and kicking with Reverend Sophie. Thank you so much, Reverend Sophie.
Bye.
There you go.
There we go. Fantastic.
We had our first ever LinkedIn comment on that.
We're still live.
Are we still live? We're still live.